Welcome to Harris County Precinct 1's virtual State of the Precinct meeting. Now, we were originally scheduled to have this on Thursday, February 18th, but with the winter storm, our office had to redirect our efforts to direct aid. And we know that many people are still recovering, and we will be out helping residents get the resources that they need, because that's what Precinct 1 does. We are here to serve you, the people of Harris County. In today's presentation, we will be giving you an overview of what we do, why we do it, and how it impacts you. You'll learn more about Harris County government, about Precinct 1, and how we work to create a more just, equitable, and brighter future for Harris County. Precinct 1 encompasses 363 square miles, stretching from Waller to League City. We serve over 1.1 million people directly in the precinct, but we also enact policies and programs that impact the over 4.7 million people in the county. On behalf of Commissioner Rodney Ellis and the team at Precinct 1, we'd like to thank you for joining us for this virtual event. The specific topics we'll cover are public health, with a particular focus on COVID-19 resources, infrastructure, roads, bridges, and all that jazz, economic equity, Precinct 1's programs and our community engagement, criminal justice, environmental justice, and our communications efforts, letting you know how you can learn more about our work and get in touch with us. Finally, we'll close with a message from Commissioner Rodney Ellis and answer some of the questions that came into us. So we have quite a bit of ground to cover, but we hope you'll keep watching, because this is not just to inform you about what we do. It is an invitation for everyone who cares about this community, who cares about equitable health care, about justice in our legal system, about addressing pollution, for all of us to work together on the solutions to address these issues and make our county better. Without further ado, let's get started. Our first topic is public health.
Healthcare is a human right. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it clear just how important it is for everyone to have access to affordable healthcare. I want to simplify some numbers for you and explain how Precinct 1 is working to create an equitable healthcare system where your zip code doesn't determine your quality of care. Let's start off with some COVID-19 numbers. Our county is still battling the virus, with communities of color getting hit especially hard. The positivity rate has gone up to 13.5% in Harris County. The 14-day average of new cases in Harris County is 682 cases per day. However, that trend has been increasing. COVID-19 patients occupy 24% of ICU beds in Harris County hospitals and 7% of general beds. Public Health launched the COVID-19 Data Hub in January. The hub allows users to directly access and download public data on COVID-19. You can find information on trends, demographics, vaccines, and testing. You can even separate the data by zip code to better understand how COVID-19 has impacted your neighborhood. Stopping this pandemic is going to take all of our tools: hand washing, masks, social distancing, and vaccines. Stay smart and do your part. We urge everyone to continue wearing masks to protect yourselves and your neighbors so that we have the best chance of getting our communities, schools, and health systems back to normal sooner. As vaccines are rolled out, we are working to ensure vulnerable communities are prioritized. Harris County has been allocated 1.2 million vaccines, with almost 625,000 doses already administered so far. With the third vaccine now in circulation, we are even more hopeful about the number of people who will be vaccinated. All individuals can join both the county and the City of Houston's COVID-19 vaccine waitlist, as well as any others that they're eligible for. The county waitlist is available at readyharris.org or vaxtrack.hctx.net. You can also call 832-927-8787 to be placed on the county's waitlist. Information on eligibility and process for the City of Houston's COVID-19 vaccine waitlist can be found on houstonemergency.org/COVID-19 or by contacting the City of Houston's COVID-19 call center at 832-393-4220. Proof of insurance, citizenship, or residence is not required. The waitlist will not be first come, first served. In order to ensure fair access for elderly residents, teachers, childcare workers, and other at-risk populations, registrants on the waitlist will be selected through a prioritization and randomization process in accordance with state guidelines. Harris County will also work to identify zip codes that are disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. The goal is for everyone to easily get vaccinated against COVID-19 as soon as large enough quantities are available. The vaccine supply will continue to increase in the weeks and months to come. Once vaccines are widely available, the plan is to have several thousand vaccination providers offering COVID-19 vaccines in doctors' offices, retail pharmacies, hospitals, and federally qualified health centers. Over 126,000 people will get vaccinated at NRG Park over the next 6 weeks at a new FEMA vaccination site. They're contacting eligible individuals from the City of Houston and Harris County's vaccine waitlists. In order to ensure equitable distribution, FEMA will be prioritizing around 30 zip codes that have elevated case counts and have additional barriers to healthcare access. In the meantime, people should continue to get tested. Free COVID-19 testing is available for everyone through Harris County Public Health. Proof of citizenship, residence, or insurance is not required. You can visit the website covecheck.hctx.net to find out more. Harris County Public Health and Precinct 1 are working on partnerships and creative care delivery models that strengthen the healthcare safety net. Precinct 1 is committed to strengthening healthcare in Harris County because we have a moral and economic imperative to invest in our healthcare system, improve health outcomes, and eliminate health disparities in our communities. We invite you to join us in this fight.
We make sure our work represents all the values found in the precinct's mission statement, especially equity. In addition, our work is guided by strategic objectives that incorporate 5 values: safety, efficiency, innovation, responsiveness, and even a little bit of fun. Whether it's a road repair, park improvement, office renovation, our goal is pretty straightforward: identify and deliver high-quality projects that improve lives. We're not doing our job right if our outcomes don't reflect equity as well as need. One common equity metric is whether a project is in a low and moderate income area, also known as an LMI. LMIs are historically underfunded neighborhoods and include a majority of people of color, especially if the area has a high proportion of LMI individuals. Notably, Precinct 1 has 65 projects completed, under construction, or in design, and over 55% of those projects are in LMI areas. We're investing approximately $130 million in these communities within our precinct. These numbers demonstrate our commitment to equity as an outcome, not simply an idea. We're really excited about several upcoming projects, but the last 4 years have actually been pretty successful too for us at Precinct 1. For example, we've completed almost 19 miles of safe bike lanes, added over 21 miles of new and renovated or resurfaced hike and bike trails, and we finally totally renovated the T-Pier at Dewson Park. Right now, we're working on almost 57 projects, but here are a few of the standouts that we have. The Texas Southern University and the University of Houston Street projects are on track. Texas Southern's Cleburne Street is amazing, and if you haven't gone by, you should. It'll be finished this summer. Soccer will come to Blue Ridge Park later this year in Southwest Houston. This project was supported by a $2 million grant from the Qatar Harvey Fund. It won't be completed in 2021, but there is a lot of excitement about this next project, the Hill at Sims. It's in South Houston in the Sunnyside area. This 315-acre project will include an amazing pedestrian and bicycle bridge across Sims Bayou and almost 3 miles of trails in an all-natural setting along Sims Bayou. Moving ahead to 2021, we'll initiate a comprehensive major maintenance and renovation program for our facilities. As part of our commitment to Vision Zero to reduce traffic fatalities and accidents, we will improve our street safety with our Roads to Standard program. Also, we will continue to make upgrades to our parks and our trails, while also making important investments in new playground equipment. Also this year, we have several projects that we believe will represent Precinct 1 at its finest. In Southwest Houston, we're constructing an expanded 10-foot wide concrete trail. This trail will connect the neighborhoods of Brayburn Valley West, West Bray Village, and Woodbridge to Keegan's Bayou, expanding recreational and transportation opportunities for all. We'll also be widening sections of Tidwell Road near Greens Bayou in Northeast Houston with 6 to 8 foot wide sidewalks. Additionally, we will replace the bridge over Greens Bayou Trail that was damaged during Harvey. In Harris County, we are constructing sidewalk improvements, mid-block crossings, and transit stop improvements along sections of Kirkendall, Ella, and Rankin Roads in Northwest Harris County. All of these projects demonstrate Precinct's commitment to safely connect communities to recreational opportunities, schools, and businesses. Through community partnerships, Precinct 1 is turning flood control basins into community parks and recreational areas by adding trails, exercise equipment, sports fields, and other features for the community to enjoy. Work is ongoing or planned at several of our parks, like Boris Dorian Park, Adair Park in South Houston, Willow Waterhole near South Main and South Post Oak Road, as well as Homestead Detention in Northeast Houston, and many more projects.
Part of Precinct 1's mission. Our mission includes the advancement of equality of opportunity and promoting the fair treatment of all people in Harris County. And when it comes to economic equity, that means creating an economy that works for everyone. We need to create good paying jobs and opportunities for families working hard, struggling to make ends meet, and are too far left behind.
Despite our region's vast prosperity, far too many working families in Harris County are forced to stretch every dollar and still can't make ends meet to cover the basics like housing, utilities, food, medicine, much less save for a rainy day or be able to recover from disasters like Winter Storm Uri.
In many of our communities, people find obstacles instead of opportunity. Every family deserves the chance to thrive, not merely survive. Services in the county and resources should be available and fairly distributed to all residents, regardless of what neighborhood they live in, their economic status, or their race.
That's right. Traditional approaches to economic development and opportunities often ignore or fail to acknowledge policies that have led to the economic oppression of communities of color.
Right.
This is why we have prioritized equitable economic development.
Approaching economic development with an equity lens means acknowledging historic disinvestment, current oppression, and disparities while seeking to lessen those harms through the development of opportunities that lead to prosperity.
That's right, Sasha. Our top priorities for economic equity in Precinct 1 are creating opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses and the equitable distribution of resources and services within local county government.
Something that we noticed, not just in our county but across the country, is that COVID-19 exacerbated economic inequality in our region. Therefore, we have created relief incentives that help residents and small businesses, particularly small and micro businesses, that are an important part of employing and serving our communities. To ensure long-term recovery and equitable practices, we have spearheaded the development and implementation of a countywide program directed at minority and women-owned businesses and enterprises, or MWBEs. This program would allow us to address current disparities within the county, where over 90% of the millions of county dollars in contracts are only going to a small number of businesses.
Additionally, we have prioritized changing our incentive programs and policies to encourage new businesses coming into the county to create community benefits that our communities need and deserve. Another important aspect of equity is the creation and preservation of affordable housing.
Yeah.
We realize that it is crucial to keep people stably housed and protect residents from being evicted during these hard times.
That's why we've provided funding for legal services for tenants, and we recently hosted a drive-through with our community partners to provide free legal aid services to residents facing evictions.
We operate under the notion that housing is a human right and a platform for economic and social well-being. This means that every resident should have access to safe, decent, and affordable housing.
These are just a few of the initiatives that we focus on in terms of equity here at Precinct 1. And we will continue to advance equity through our services and programs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The Community Relations Department has two core functions: community engagement and constituent services. Community engagement team members serve as liaisons between Precinct 1 and the public on issues that impact residents, quality of life, ranging anywhere from reforming our criminal justice system to delivering an equitable response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Constituent Services team members respond to service requests from Precinct 1 residents. Requests vary widely, but they can range from coordinating road repairs to connecting folks to direct service agencies that provide food, rental, or utility assistance.
Part of our work also takes place during and after disasters. Our department works with communities to provide assistance and resources in times of need. During the Arctic freeze, which was felt on a national level and saw many in Texas without power or water, the freeze limited available resources, but we worked to deliver over 3,000 cases of bottled water to communities throughout Precinct 1. Over 14 water distribution events, including our Tom Bass, Hester House, Hardy, Lincoln Park, community centers were hosted by Precinct 1 in order to provide water for over 2,500 households. Our team also collaborated with community advocacy organizations to host a resource fair to provide over 200 households with food, baby items, clothes, blankets, and other necessities. We were able to accomplish this thanks to partnerships with community organizations who assist and partner with us to assist communities.
We have 17 team members who cover 8 geographical areas in a precinct of over 1 million residents that spans from George Bush Intercontinental Airport all the way to Clear Lake. We work with individuals, neighborhood groups, faith-based organizations, advocates, and other community groups to promote equity, fairness, and justice for all residents of Precinct 1.
In addition, we represent Precinct 1 by informing constituents about county infrastructure projects and programs and connect people with vital Harris County resources like the Small Business Relief Fund and the Emergency Direct Assistance Program. In essence, our overall goal is to engage the community in ways that promote the best possible quality of life for our constituents while making them a part of the process.
Our team was truly inspired after meeting a constituent during a new program that targets outreach to non-traditional constituents, such as Spanish-speaking residents who have not engaged with county resources. The constituent is a wife and mother of 3 who is originally from Central America. She cleans and oversees an apartment complex in 5th Ward. She works hard to take care of her family, especially her older son, who has brain cancer. Because of the pandemic, the family and other apartment residents must be careful about prevention. Despite his illness, her son, a natural leader, assists his mother in collaborating with the Precinct 1 team and his neighbors to empower his community.
The mother and son were instrumental in helping Precinct 1 in October during its first PPE and mass distribution at the complex, where more than 120 residents received supplies and resources. This family is just one of many that gives our team hope, encouragement, and perseverance during these difficult times.
First and foremost, our priority will be to help communities recover from the impacts of COVID-19. In 2020, we served approximately 500 families a week during food giveaways through our partnerships with Houston Food Bank. We also delivered food to about 150 to 200 homes each week during the height of the lockdown in 2020. We plan to continue and expand initiatives to address food insecurity and lack of other basic needs this year.
Another top priority for recovery will be working with our public health partners to connect communities to equitable COVID-19 testing and vaccinations. We will also continue to support housing stability by working with community and advocacy partners to make residents aware of resources to prevent evictions. This year, we must continue to ensure that all residents, regardless of race, income, or neighborhood, have access to county services. This means expanding the number of people we engage with, including groups that have not traditionally trusted or interacted with local government. We will work diligently to connect them to resources and services, listen to their concerns, and communicate those concerns to our colleagues for consideration when making policy decisions. We will serve as a bridge between Harris County policies and the communities these policies impact. A few examples include working with Harris County Pollution Control to inform and aid constituents in reporting polluters and bad actors in vulnerable communities, working with residents who experience flooding and the Harris County Flood Control District to ensure all neighborhoods have the opportunity to recover regardless of property value, continuing to collaborate with communities impacted by the criminal justice system to ensure that level of income does not determine outcomes. At every opportunity, we will empower and walk alongside the communities of Precinct 1 in making necessary progress toward equity and justice for all residents.
Precinct 1 is committed to building a criminal legal system that is responsive to the needs of the community and that centers the experiences of those most disproportionately impacted by the criminal justice system. We want safe, healthy, and fair communities, and that means radically reimagining our criminal legal system. We need to end the use of mass incarceration to address issues such as mental illness, homelessness, and poverty. We also need to end the use of cash bail, which provides neither safety nor justice for our communities because it essentially forces people to either purchase their freedom or spend months in jail awaiting their day in court. Precinct 1 wants to minimize exposure to the criminal justice system and instead invest in public safety initiatives that put resources into housing, public health, social services, and economic empowerment in our most vulnerable communities. Our policy work utilizes a data-driven approach to promote safe and thriving communities by supporting restorative and evidence-based solutions. In 2020, 2 weeks after the murder of Houston native George Floyd, Harris County Commissioner's Court passed a series of criminal justice initiatives, but our work has not stopped there. We know there's still work to be done to create a justice system that works for all people, which is why in 2021, we will be focusing on the following. First, we will be investing in new community-based, non-criminalizing interventions such as an alternative emergency first responders and violence interruption. The Community Alternatives Responders Program will direct calls that do not require law enforcement to health and social services response teams. The Harris County Sheriff's Office is implementing national best practices by redesigning the questions for 911 dispatch officers so that they are able to redirect calls to non-law enforcement responders. We are also working with national experts to end cycles of violence in our community by designing community-based, credible messenger, and hospital-based violence prevention programs. Precinct 1 also wants to ensure that everyone has access to quality legal representation and a fair shot at justice, regardless of how much money they have, through public defender expansion. Studies have shown that Harris County public defenders get better outcomes for their clients over judge-appointed private attorneys. Therefore, the Public Defender's Office, the Justice Administration Department, and the Texas Indigent Defense Commission have developed a plan to increase the Public Defender's Office capacity to cover 50% of case appointments within 2 years. We will also continue to build on the historic misdemeanor bail reform and address the issues of felony bail. We have a two-tier justice system that punishes people for being poor, locking them up before they were ever convicted of a crime. Even short stays in detention has a big impact. People lose the ability to work, the ability to raise their children, and to live as free people who are legally presumed innocent. Cash bail provides neither safety nor justice for our communities. Detainment should only be based on data and actual risk to public safety. Allowing people to purchase freedom is fundamentally unfair, and we must change this practice. Last, we will ensure that we are studying and publishing racial and ethnic disparities in the criminal legal system. Effective policy requires quality data. The county will be conducting a year-long study to research racial and ethnic disparities at every point in the criminal legal system. In addition to this, the Justice Administration Department is collecting data that will be made available to the public on racial profiling in Harris County law enforcement. For 2021, our goal is to acknowledge the current failings of our criminal justice system and put forward alternative programs that reduce criminal justice interventions for issues related to poverty, mental health, and substance abuse.
When it comes to climate and environmental justice, our goal at Precinct 1 is to ensure that all communities have a clean and healthy environment. And our approach starts with equity. This means prioritizing and protecting communities that are the most vulnerable and often have the least representation. It also means making sure that those communities have a seat at the table in decisions about their own lives and communities. We know that communities of color are more likely to be near industrial and manufacturing plants that put harmful pollutants into the air and water. That is why Precinct 1 has advocated for greater county involvement to help residents in Cashmere Gardens and Fifth Ward deal with the damage of creosote in the area. And it's also why we have come out against allowing concrete batch plants to pollute the air near vulnerable communities. In January of last year, Commissioner Ellis requested that the Pollution Control Services Department increase the enforcement of concrete batch plant permits to enhance awareness of the potential hazards that concrete batch plants pose to communities. The initiatives that came from this request have led to more investigations and identifications of permit violations. Last year, Commissioner Ellis authorized Pollution Control Services and the Environmental Division at the County Attorney's Office to get involved in the cancer cluster that was discovered across North Houston neighborhoods. These groups are now working with the city to collect data to determine the source of contamination. This process is ongoing, but we are continuing to evaluate what additional steps can be taken to address the unmet needs of this community. This year, Harris County's Climate Action Plan will center equity in every stage of the process, from vision to implementation. This means getting community members involved from the beginning and making sure their needs and priorities are heard. With our new plan, we will also be looking at the sources of greenhouse gas emissions and the disproportionate impact of these emissions on communities of color, while also looking at the other impacts climate change has on our most vulnerable communities, including on our air, water, and soil quality. In short, here at Precinct 1, we are excited to continue to work toward a greener and safer future.
Precinct 1 is about community. And now that you've had a chance to hear about our work to create a vibrant, healthy, and cohesive community, and our policies and programs that fight for equity, justice, and opportunity for all, we hope that this information has been helpful. At Precinct 1, we believe that a healthy community depends on everyone playing their part. So we invite you to stay connected with us and to participate in your county government. If you follow us on social media, you can hear more about vaccine updates, resources like mask and food distributions, and our latest initiatives at Commissioner's Court. You can also sign up for updates for our email list and subscribe to the One for All podcast. Staying connected, particularly as we continue to stay socially distant for our community's health, is really important to us because ultimately we're here to serve you. And now that you've met some of our Precinct 1 team and have learned what we're about, I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Rodney Ellis. Commissioner Ellis will talk a little bit more about what we do here at Precinct 1 and answer some of the questions that you submitted through our State of the Precinct survey. Commissioner Ellis is a lifelong public servant who was first elected to the Houston City Council in 1990. He represented our region in the Texas Senate for 26 years before becoming county commissioner. And at the county, he's been instrumental in advancing major criminal justice reforms, implementing flood equity guidelines for Harris County's flood control projects, and ensuring that we prioritize direct financial assistance for families in need of COVID relief. Now, here's Commissioner Rodney Ellis.
Hi, I'm Rodney Ellis. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to our virtual State of the Precinct meeting. I hope that our Precinct 1 team was able to give you a sense of the work we're doing here to better serve you and create a stronger, more just, and equitable county. This year has already started with some challenges for our community. Many of you are still dealing with the aftermath of last month's winter storm. Our community lost more than 40 lives to this avoidable disaster. Rest assured that I will continue to push for a just recovery that prioritizes those hardest hit by this disaster, and that I will demand changes to our systems so that we prioritize people over profit and make the necessary investments in climate resiliency and promote climate equity. I'm passionate about equity and justice because I was born and raised in Sunnyside as the proud son of a yard man and a maid, and a proud graduate of Texas public schools. I've been in public service for almost my entire life. I know that the most important thing in this line of work is ensuring that we are helping the people that we serve, especially the most vulnerable. Our State of the Precinct was not just to pat ourselves on the back, but to the contrary, to let you know our plans and vision for the future and invite you to be a part of them. We need our entire community to be involved in order to make our vision for this county a reality. This year, we've already taken steps towards realizing this vision by ensuring that we have adequate funding for our goals in our new budget. Our budget should be a reflection of our values. Our fiscal year 2022 budget does just that. Among some of the standout items in our new budget are, of course, with COVID-19 pandemic still impacting our community, we increased our public health spending to ensure that we are fighting the disease as well as root causes of health disparities in our region. We made historic investments in community-based social service responses to poverty, public health, and violence, including a $2 million community investment fund, $5 million toward alternative community responder teams, as well as $8.3 million increase investment for expansion of our public defender office. With these new initiatives, we can create healthy and thriving communities without relying on the punitive criminal legal system that we have now. We also allocated funding for the brand new Department of Economic Equity and Opportunity, which will be able to lead our county through these tough economic times by focusing on equitable economic development, community business and workforce development, job training, and strengthening workers' rights. As we face an affordable housing and eviction crisis, the county has stepped up with 80% increase in funding for housing and community services, including a partnership with the City of Houston to provide support for those experiencing homelessness. We also invested in our new Office of Elections Administrator so that we build on the gains of 2020, of that 2020 election, and increase access to the ballot box among communities that have historically been the targets of voter suppression. And that's just part of the work that we're doing. But our main goal, our State of the Precinct goal, is to ensure that you are informed about the information that matters to you. So with that, we'll go to questions.
Commissioner Ellis, the recent winter storm has raised many questions about the county's plan to address recovery needs. Lizzie asked, can you talk about what resources are available to residents impacted by Winter Storm Uri?
Thanks. Precinct 1 compiled a list of resources that includes information about food and water distributions, rental assistance, recovery resources from FEMA, as well as from Harris County. The Precinct 1 Winter Storm Resource Guide can be found on our website. We will also be doing work on the ground to help people navigate the different applications and that paperwork that's necessary to get access to these resources.
And we also received quite a few questions about our vaccine rollout. Quinn asked, are there currently plans to have mass COVID vaccination sites in the precinct or county? And how can someone register to get the COVID vaccine if they don't have reliable internet access to use the portal?
It's a good question. The first thing people should remember is that Harris County is operating on a smart waitlist system, which prioritizes people based on the state's eligibility criteria and based on the areas of the county that are at highest risk. You can access it online and by phone for those without internet access. Everyone should sign up as soon as possible to have access. You do not need proof of insurance, of citizenship, or of residency to receive the vaccine.
And Commissioners Court recently approved a comprehensive vaccine distribution plan. Could you speak to that?
Our vaccine distribution plan will help ensure that we get the vaccine to those who are most in need by using 3 approaches. 1, we will have large drive-through sites which will allow us to vaccinate large numbers of people from the wait list. Number 2, we will also work with community-based healthcare partners, which will also allow us to target high-risk, underserved, and uninsured patients. The third and last one would be we will have mobile vaccine distribution units. We will pinpoint and target delivery to vulnerable populations in high-risk zip codes. We're currently working with limited supplies of the vaccine, but we're confident that as we get more doses, this plan will ensure that we distribute the vaccines equitably.
We also received questions about affordable housing. Bridget asked, how is Precinct 1 working to make affordable housing more readily available? And Brittany asked what we are doing to help people experiencing homelessness.
Hey, I get it. Everybody needs a place to shelter. And with COVID-19 being a crisis, we've been hearing from constituents about the struggle to pay for housing. To address the immediate need, we partnered with the City of Houston for a new COVID rental assistance program, which is still receiving applications. This can provide direct assistance towards rent and utility payments, covering several months for those who are eligible. For the longer term, our latest budget included funding for the Way from Home continuum of care partnership with the City of Houston for people experiencing homelessness. That's a big deal. We also have several projects underway with the Harris County Housing Authority and other partners to build affordable apartment homes for families in our county.
Another popular topic was environmental concern. Camille asked, what can the county do to end the pattern of sacrifice zones in minority and low-income communities where cancer, asthma, and other pollution-related health problems are forced on residents?
When we say that racism is a public health crisis, this is exactly what we mean. We recently brought up the issue of the cancer cluster identified in Cashmere Gardens and Fifth Ward, and we will be taking action. Our latest budget included increasing the spending in environmental protection and pollution control, including funding for the county attorney's office to increase enforcement and hold companies accountable. Communities are suffering, and we must give them the resources and tools for environmental monitoring, for support and enforcement.
Lastly, we got quite a few questions about bail reform. Claire asked, how are we working to keep nonviolent offenders out of jail and releasing those jailed for nonviolent crimes who cannot pay bail?
I've always fought against injustices in our legal system, and I believe that money bail is one of the biggest. With COVID-19, we've seen people die in jail because they cannot afford a $100 bond. But even before COVID-19, it is a travesty that we keep people incarcerated as they wait for months for their day in court, simply because they cannot afford to purchase that freedom. This doesn't provide either safety or justice for our communities. Everyone has a role to play in ensuring our system respects the constitutional rights of every person to enjoy their freedom while they await trial. From the prosecutor to the judges, the sheriff, and the district attorney, we all have work to do to make this system work much better than it is working today.
That's a wrap for State of the Precinct. We hope that we're able to provide a better understanding of what Precinct 1 is doing to serve the needs of our residents and create a more equitable and just future for everyone. We've covered a lot of different topics and resources over the last hour, so you can find more information about these and stay up to date with the latest from Precinct 1 by visiting our website at hcp1.net or following Harris County Precinct 1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thanks for joining us.